So last night I was asked what the word of the year was for me. I didn't really have one, but actually as soon as that question was asked, it was like, oh, I know what it is actually. It's endure. You made me heard me share recently in my articles. I looked up the etymology to endure. It comes from the Latin indurare, which actually meant to strengthen within. In Old Latin, it literally meant to strengthen the heart. So to endure something was an activity that strengthened the heart, and by heart, they referred to both courage and also will. And so to endure, now we know that word endure is like to suffer, right? But that's like, I think that's a victimized response to, or a description of, the work that strengthens the heart and will. So anyway, for me, the word of the year is endure. And the reason I'm sharing it here is because I've recently switched up my morning routine based on this intention and also an insight from Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist of Huberman Labs. He has this term called limbic friction, which essentially is anything that you want to do conceptually, cognitively with your conscious intention, your will, that has friction because your limbic system, your emotional body, your behavioral patterning doesn't want to do it, is used to not doing it. So instead of thinking about what would be the morning routine things that what are the highest priority things in my morning routine, by doing them, the outcome of doing them is beneficial to me. Like, for example, going for a swim in the morning. That's probably got benefits for my cardiovascular strength, and it sets me up in a higher energy for the day. Fantastic. Doing my financial accounts on a regular basis. Obviously, that's good for the outcome. If I do it, the win is that I'm on top of my finances, for example, right? Now, typically, I would prioritize them based on the value of completing the task consistently. But Huberman's point actually inspired me, along with endurance, to an even more immediate and greater value than completing the task itself. And that is that when you do something that's hard, that your limbic system doesn't want to do because it's used to not doing it, when you do that, what you do is you actually create neurosynaptic connections, neural pathways in the domain of your capacity to do things that you don't want to do. So you actually create a very generalized cognitive strength by doing things you don't want to do. So now what I've done is I've prioritized my morning routine by the things that I most don't want to do. For example, it's not that I don't want to swim, it's that I don't want to get in the pool because our pool isn't heated, and it's not like a cold ice bath, but it's sub 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's cool, and it's first thing in the morning, it's pitch black out. And so for me, it's not swim every morning because of the outcome of the benefits of swimming. The outcome now is get in the pool. And just doing that, if I do that, I get the win of the capacity to overpower limbic friction. Do my accounts every day. Do I need to do them every day? It's not necessary because not that much happens in 24 hours, but the resistance to opening them in the first place means that now I have to face the limbic friction every day. And so every time I do something hard, it doesn't even matter if the task is long. I just want to find what is the point that is, I don't want to do this, and I have to use my will to do it anyway, because every time I do that, get in the pool, open the accounts, what's my other morning one? Oh, weightlifting. I actually love weightlifting, but to do it in pitch black darkness before anybody's awake, before I start my work by myself. I used to do it at a gym. It's like there's limbic friction for me right there. But now, having just done that, before I even start my workday, I've done 3 things that I don't want to do before I start my workday. That is, in Huberman's neuroscientist speak, that is actually developing my brain to have a higher capacity to do things I don't want to do. So you could use that neuroscience language, or you could say by enduring, by doing these things, even though I don't want to do them, I'm strengthening my heart. Right? I like the kind of like old school, mythical, energetic, poetic language a bit more, but it's fun to connect with the neuroscience as well. So what are the hardest things? What are the things you least want to do? And how could you not make that necessarily a long thing, right? Like because there's typically a point, it's usually starting it, right? There's a certain aspect of it you don't want to do. How could you shrink that down and focus it in? So it's like, for me, it was like, instead of like saying I'm going to swim every morning for 10, 20 minutes, how about I'm just going to get in the pool? Because once I'm in, like this morning I got in and I was like, I'm just gonna get in and get out because I don't want to spend that much time. But then once I was in the water, I was like, I'm gonna swim now, you know? It's just, so what's the point, a specific point where it's really hard? And how could you make that the box to tick every day? And you pick 2 or 3 things of those to start your day with, you feel like a champion before the sun even comes up, because you just overcame on the inside, and the win is there because you know you just actually grew stronger cognitively, in your heart, in your will. So try it out. I love you. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.